Okay, let's get started. I am so excited. This is a fun one, and this is like one of my favorite musicals ever. So, we're going to jump right into the topic right after we get an opening prayer. So, would someone be willing to give us an opening prayer today? Perfect. Thank you, Sydney. You go right ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can. Thank you for asking.
Okay. Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for today. We're grateful for all the very many blessings you have given to us. We're grateful for the opportunity that we have to be here in class today. And please help those who are not here at this time that they will be able to either make it later or come next time. And we again are grateful that we were able to be here today. And we ask these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Sydney. All right, so we're going to work on the Music Man today. This is a really, really fun, wonderful lesson. So I hope you get the idea and you're able to really jump in. And I don't know, has anybody seen this? I should ask that. Has anybody seen The Music Man? Oh my goodness, nobody's seen The Music Man. Oh, it worked. I'm so excited. Yay! Yeah, a couple people have. That's great. I'm excited about that. Okay, I do have to tell you that can you see in the top corner here? I seem to have lost all of the controls um, to Microsoft. So I'm kind of frustrated if I'm a little flustered. I can't get it to work right. We do have a mic on. It looks like that might be Josh. If you wouldn't mind turning off your mic, Josh. Thank you. Okay, so we are going to jump right in. And one of the things about the Music Man is that it is a lot of fun, but it also has a lot of really complicated lyrics. Lyrics. Okay, so I want to show you first and foremost, this is the music, and this is on the Family School website. So look at the lyrics at this. Can you imagine that the man who had to read these lyrics, actually he sang it, right? Jacob, because Jacob saw it. So he had to sing this and he had to memorize all of um, he had to memorize all of these words. Okay, so now what I want you to do is I want you to listen to it, all right? And as you think about it and as you watch it and as you listen, I want you to think how fun it is, okay? And the reason we're going to, this is lesson number, what lesson is this? Um, I don't know. Good question. I don't know what lesson number this is. Jacob, sorry. Um, we're on lesson 14. Sorry about that. Okay, so I want you to listen to all this. And the reason that I had the words up there is I wanted you to be able to both see and hear it, so you can follow along if you so desire. But this is a lot of fun, so I hope that you enjoy this. Okay, and just one second here. Okay, looks like that's out there. And this here is about 5 minutes long. All right. Megan, do me a favor and just write hi in the question field, and then I'll be able to send the link to you. I'm unable to send a link because nobody's asked a question yet. Thank you. Okay, so what did you think? Would that be hard to memorize all those words? Anybody want to try it? No? It was very interesting. I can't imagine trying to memorize all these words and to be able to sing it and march and do all. Oh my goodness, it's just too much stuff going on at one time. But I think it's so fun. So, what I want you to do is I want you to just look at the You Got Trouble here, my friend. Where's the River City, by the way? Right here it says here in River City. Does anybody know? Yeah, we don't know. It, well, we have some great ideas where it was, but you have to remember that the whole purpose here was that you had the professor. What was the professor's name? Anybody remember? Harold Hall. Harold Hall was the professor's name. And he wanted to convince all these stubborn people from River City that they had trouble, just huge, big trouble. Okay, so we have Meredith Willson. Who's Meredith Willson? Anybody know who that is? No? He's the one that wrote this. He's a musician, yes. So he wrote not just the song, he wrote the entire script for the play, The Music Man. And when he was trying to find someone to produce this play, he thought he would need to cut most of the words out of the story because the dialogue was so long. And as he read the words aloud, they began to sound lyrical to him. And that's when he changed the entire thing into a musical instead of just a play. So he knew a lot about stubborn people because guess where he was from? He was from Iowa, right? So when we look at Iowa, he was actually from right here in Mason City. Okay. Anybody driven through Iowa? I-80 goes right about through here, right through here, and then it swings down, hits the Davenport and Rock Island and goes across. Anybody who lived or been through Iowa? Patrick's probably been through Iowa, haven't you, Patrick? Yeah. Who else might have been through Iowa? Nope. Nope. Let me tell you, that is a really long state to drive through. Okay. Can anybody see the map? Yes. Okay. Some people can see the map, but some people can't. I don't know why you can't see it. It's on my screen. So I'm going to tell you, it was so difficult because it's such a long piece. It's like driving through Kansas. It just seems to go on and on and on, okay? So this is where he was from. And right here, Mr. Wilson, who wrote this, is from Mason City. All right? Now, he really, really was trying to use some of his own memories and experiences, and there is some supposition that he may have even used some of his very own friends and family members as characters. Can you imagine? Would you have been offended if it were one of yours? If you found out that you were one of the characters in that movie? No. I think it'd be interesting, but I don't know if I'd really want to be a character. So when you look here, this is the piccolo, right? Does anybody here play a piccolo? I don't know. I thought we had a piccolo player. Okay, so he was trying to, you remember that the piccolo players has the troubles in the movie, and he was trying to convince him to invent a music holder for the piccolo player. Well, this is John Philip Sousa. Do we all know who John Philip Sousa is? Yeah? No? Okay, well, John Philip Sousa had a marching band. So when Mr. Wilson was 19 years old, he was a piccolo player and was trying to come up with an idea of how you could hold music on a piccolo. All right, so back over here, this is Iowa. Remember over here when I showed you the picture of Iowa? This is Davenport and Rock City. This is where they're thinking more or less that River City may have really been based on this town right here, Davenport and Rock City. Okay, and I'm going to tell you, I've driven through this, and if you look, right about through here is where you're going to see I-80 go down and around and up, and then it goes into Chicago on the other side. Okay, not like on the other side of there. You go down, it goes to Peoria, but if you go this way, it will go over to Chicago. Okay, so they're thinking that this is probably where this entire thing was written, that it was based on a regular, normal city. And mainly they think this is because these people had to cross the river, right? So they're thinking that that may have really been the Mississippi River, as the conductor announces, River City, Iowa. Now, cigarettes were illegal in this state, and that was true. Cigarettes were okay in Illinois, over here in Moline. Moline is part of Illinois, but they were illegal in Iowa. That's no longer the case, by the way. Sad, but true. So this little detail was part of the culture that really happened during that time, which made the Music Man a lot more believable, right? Because he's included some of that culture in there. All right. So Meredith Willson was a composer, a conductor, and a playwright, and he was born and raised in Iowa. And then, of course, what happens? He builds his musical on stuff that he knows. What does he know? He knows about Iowa, doesn't he? So he built his story around a little town in Iowa. So in The Music Man, I love this because this is one of the, I remember this picture on the front of the VCR tape back in the day, the VCR tape that we used to have. So in The Music Man, Professor Harold Hill first points out a big problem in this town, and he's like, look, you've got trouble. And he says, but wait a minute, I've got a really exciting solution. So what is the trouble that they have? What is the trouble? Pool? Yeah. The kids are playing too many billiards. They're getting into trouble. Yeah, they don't have anything to do. So what's his solution to that, all this mischievousness, sorry. What's his solution to it? Band camp. I love it. Yeah, to get a marching band going, right? Okay, so that's what they want. So remember, Professor Hill, he's really a salesman. So his very next song is the sales pitch for his solutions. And he's like, look, here's my sales pitch. Here's what it is that we should do to get rid of this problem. Okay, so I think I'm way over here now. Wow, I get way ahead of myself. Okay, so I'm going to send this to you, and this is a really, really fun song. And this one's only 3 minutes long. I'm sorry, it's not longer, but here it is. And it's a good clip. It's a wonderful clip for you. Okay. So what do you think? Is he a good salesman, Professor Hall? Do you think he's a good salesman? Yes. Would you buy what he is selling? He talks a mile a minute. Oh my gosh, I know. I know. He does talk a mile a minute. It's like he has a 7-track mind or something, right? Yeah. I like that when I watched this and my father saw it, he said that this man could sell sand to of someone who lived in the desert, right? That he has this great ability to sell. So Meredith Willson, the composer, right? That he had some wonderful musical techniques, don't you think? And one of the things that he used is he used tempo and a time signature. What's the difference between tempo and the time signature? Does anybody know? What's the difference between tempo and time signature? Beats per minute, 4/4. That's your time signature. What's your tempo? Time signature is the number of beats per measure. Good job. Good job, Ethan. Thank you. Please do, Patrick. What would you like to share?
So, I'm actually in band at the school, and we do a lot of different types of music. And one of the things that's important when you're playing is definitely the tempo that you're going at, because if you're playing a slow song and you're playing at 150 beats per minute rather, then you're gonna butcher it.
That's right. That's right. Good job. Thank you, Patrick. And so when we talk about our beats per measure, we think, it's a little different than that tempo because that tempo tells us exactly how fast or how slow things are going. Or how fast or how slow to take it. And I was trying to think, let's see if we can find an image real quick here of an LDS hymn. An LDS hymn book. Let's see if there's or LDS hymn, period. Okay, right here. This is a great way of showing it. Okay, so I like looking at the LDS hymn book. Oh, that's too small, isn't it? Let's see if it's a little bit bigger here. Let's see if we can open this image. See if it gets bigger. So the reason that I want to show this is because if you look, nope, that isn't. When you look in the corner right here, see, it's going to have your beats per measure, 4/4 3/4. Oh my gosh, I think I said beats per minute earlier, and I apologize if I did. My mind is running a little too fast, so I do apologize. But also, it's going to tell you how to play that music. So some of them say rejoicefully, right? Some of them say with reverence. So it's going to tell you exactly how you should approach this, correct? Okay. So as we're listening to, I'm looking for my right tab. Is this the one? No. Here it is. 76 trombones. What? What were the beats per measure in this? What were the beats per measure? 3/4. It's a good guess. In the lesson, it actually says that it's a 4/4 time. So when we listen to it, I want you to listen to it again. Actually, let's not listen to it again. We're going to run out of time if we listen to it again because we got some other fun stuff to look at. But I want you to listen to it again later and see if you can really hear that time. All right, so let's look at this one here. This one is a wonderful song, and it is called Good Night, My Someone. My dad used to sing this all the time when he was trying to con us into going to bed. Okay, so, but I want you to listen to this one, and as you listen, see if you can figure out what the time is in it, okay? What's the time signature? Okay, I like this. Patrick says you're 95% sure it's 3/4 time. I love it. 95% sure. So, you know what? You are right. It is 3/4 time. Okay. So when we listen to that, can we see that there's a little bit of a difference between this one and the 76 trombones? Could you let's hear a difference in the timing? Okay, so I can, and I'm not really. I shouldn't say I'm really not musically talented, as some of you are, but I can definitely hear that difference. Okay, so I want you to think about this. When you listen to them, are you surprised at how different a melody would change? So, did you recognize? Did you recognize "Good Night, My Someone"? Yeah, ish. What's the difference between? Well, what does it sound a little bit like? Did anybody recognize what it sounds a little bit like? Okay, are you ready? 76 trombones and "Good Night, My Someone" have the same melody. Did you realize that? So the difference is in the tempo and in what? Your time signature, right? And just that little difference makes a whole difference in how it sounds. So our 76 trombones is really our band director, and he's out there and he's excited and he's happy, right? Yeah. Isn't that amazing? I know. Someone said in the YouTube comments, they kind of ruined the whole lesson, don't they? But that's okay. So they're really excited. But then the "Good Night, My Someone" is more romantic and calm and goes along with Marion. And they began to see each other differently. And what happens? They fall in love and they start to change for the better. Isn't that really cool? So the professor really faces up to some of the dishonesty he is, but Miss Marion must soften, and she has to admit that the whole town really benefited, right? Okay, so there's also a counterpoint to this. What's the counterpoint? What is it? The counterpoint is when two different songs are composed with separate melodies and lyrics, but they harmonized, and they're actually designed to be sung together. Okay, so I've got this one right here. It's the next one over. Oh, please load. Here you go. Okay, so here we're going to see how these were designed, these two songs were designed so that they could be sung together. So that was really cool. I loved it. It is really cool, isn't it? It's kind of fun to see that barbershop quartet and all the feathers. And then, of course, you have to realize that Wilson uses all these musical techniques like the timing and the counterpoint to make the Music Man really fun and interesting. Do you think it's fun and interesting? Yeah, I love it. It is. It's really fun and interesting. And it has tons of really wonderful, wonderful um, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it's just exciting to me to be able to be pulled into the story. I get excited, and you want to go out and kind of change the world, right? You want to do something like Professor Hill. Let's go see if we can fix. We're going to change the world. Okay, so there's a great activity in the lesson that I would love for you to go back and to do. And it's where you're going to really match up your characters with who's dynamic, okay, and who's more static. And what's the difference between a dynamic character and a static character? What is the difference between a dynamic character and a static character? Anybody know? One's exciting. It is. A dynamic character is really exciting. It's someone that changes. They're going to change over time. And so their character changes and they're going to mold. They're going to become someone better. They're or different, I should say. It doesn't have to be better, right? So if you were to look at the story of Batman, for instance, might be a good one because we're all familiar with who Batman is, right? That character changes. You have a little boy who becomes a man and he changes into the Batman because of something that happened in his life. So he changed. He is a dynamic character. So then your static character is someone who stays the same. What would be a good example of a character that is static? What's a good example of a character that is static? Superman. Yeah, he's pretty static, isn't he? He's constant. Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to this next song. This next song is called The Wells Fargo Wagon. All right. And in this particular one, it's about 3 minutes long. I want you to think about which characters within this song are static and which ones are dynamic. And let me get this. Ooh, 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 ooh. What I do here? Welcome to my world. Make sure I got the right one up here. Just 1 second. Nope. Okay, I'll get there, I promise. I hit the wrong button. Okay, here we go. Now I've got it right. Again, I love this. This is just a lot of fun for me, so I hope you're enjoying this today. There you go. Okay, I've sent you a new link. So just go ahead and try that link. Okay, so as we're looking at this, tell me how how have the characters changed? Do you see any dynamic characters versus static characters? Who do you think is a dynamic character and who do you think is a static character? What about Winthrop? Do you think Winthrop's a static one? What about, at what point do you think that Marion changed? You could see it. It was in the song. What was the action that showed that her character had changed? After the man died, yeah, definitely. Her face really changed, didn't it? You could see an expression of appreciation. And she really starts encouraging the professor to save himself by leaving. She wants him to leave, right? Okay, so in this, we have Winthrop, we have Marion, Professor Hill. They're all really dynamic characters. And one of the main themes of this entire musical is that the way we see other people really can help them see themselves differently, or can help them cause them, or help them to cause them, right, to change. So the way that we treat people really impacts them, doesn't it? Yes? Okay, let's listen to the finale. Again, I really could not encourage you more than to uh, to watch this entire thing. There's a wonderful message within this musical. All right, there you go. Last video. Okay, terrific. Quite a few people are done. So as you watch that last final scene, do you get the idea? Do you see what's going on and how the people have River City, they've really begun to see each other with new eyes, haven't they? They're beginning to understand that they have a value, right? That everybody does. So teaching, no greater call. This is a manual written by the church. It says, look for the good in others. As you discover the good qualities in others, you will grow in your understanding of them as children of God. The Spirit will confirm the truthfulness of your discoveries about them, and you'll appreciate and love them more. We want to become like Jesus, and we want the people around us to be dynamic characters, right? We want them to change. And Heavenly Father and Christ are the best examples about how to change and how to treat others. And like Mrs. Peru in our story, we don't want people to see us as smudged and dirtied by all the mistakes we make, right? So we don't want to look at them either. So we need to look at how the Music Man really inspires us. As we live and we work together in our communities, we need to remember that the way we see and treat other people can help them to see different and cause them to change for the better, right? Okay, we're going to end today with this. Is somebody be willing to give us a closing prayer? And don't forget that online, this is music, lesson number 14, and your assignment is online, so you'll be able to get that. Somebody willing to give a closing prayer, please. Who is willing to give us a closing prayer for this lesson today? All right, I will give the closing prayer. Most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we're so grateful that we were able to come to Thee this day. We're grateful that we're able to learn from those things that are around us, and especially learn the beautiful message that was written within the Music Man. We're grateful for the inspiration by Mr. Wilson, that he was able to put such a beautiful and powerful message within this wonderful scene and this wonderful music. We ask Thee to please help us to remember this, and that we'll be able to apply it, and that we'll be able to see others the way that Thou wouldst have us see them. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, everybody, have a wonderful weekend.